So this one's a little bit for everybody, but first for the more aged folks. Is that a nice way of putting it?
Okay.
A quick question. When you look at your future and you look at the future you've built and you look at what's going on in the world, what direction do you see it going? Do you see everything growing? Do you see things going forward? Have you noticed any differences? What about the young people that are the future? What are they doing? Young people, do you see a future? Are you panicked about what's going on, or do you feel like you're sort of set with your skills? Well, it seems like we may have lost some of our younger generation. They seem to be in this phase of not knowing what to do or where to go, and they're sort of on a map to nowhere. GPS has given up. Phones have given the wrong directions. And now we're with a new version of a lost generation. So today we're going to be sort of trying to figure out, why are they lost? What happened? Who are the lost people? And maybe trying to see if there's a way to bring the lost people back on track. Find them a good map, an updated map. So welcome to The Glass Floor. This is a podcast where we talk about gender equalism and basically trying to even the scales between men, women, and their different issues and trying to find a good in between. This is a show that is sponsored by NCFM, the National Coalition for Men, which was founded in 1977, and they're dedicated to fighting discrimination against boys, men, and the families and women that love them. So my name is Katrina. This is Tim. This is our guest, Andreas.
Thank you, Katrina.
Say hello, Andreas.
Hello, everybody.
And our topic today is going to be the lost boys of this generation and the lost generation that we are having, that we see in our youth.
Indeed. Yeah, we hear a lot about it. We hear a lot about social isolation. We hear a lot about the loneliness epidemic. We hear a lot about failure to start and boys lost in their video games and not really getting out in the world and not having much ambition, not really having a vision of what they're going to do with their lives. And so what has changed? Why is this? Why is this happening? And, I would start us off with the young are not really dating as they used to, and there's very little plan to find someone that you're going to spend your life with and, marry, have children, and build a home together. And that means that sets both sexes adrift a bit as to what they're doing. The women sort of have a vision of taking down the patriarchy, or at least sort of, proving themselves out in the world of men, if we can still call it that. And but the boys, if they're not going to be protector providers, if they're not going to be husbands, if they're not going to be supporting a wife and children, then what are they going to do? What is their ambition? What is their future? Why should they go and spend 50 hours a week in corporate America pulling in the big bucks if they don't really have a sense that they're ever going to get married and they're never going to, what's the point? So men, young men in huge numbers are just sort of playing their video games, and they work at the 7-Eleven and they make enough money to...
Or surf. Right?
Or surf, yeah.
Whatever. They just make enough money to get by, and they're okay with that. As long as they got a car that works and a place to live and, their computer, they're kind of okay. They don't, have what kind of puts the lie to the assumption that men always went out and work because that's what we wanted to do.
Yeah.
Actually, it was always at least partially an obligation
Yeah.
for men.
And it drove ambition, which
Yes.
seems to be sort of trickling out.
Falling.
Yeah.
The road ahead has become a mirage. So
Yeah.
for young men.
Mhm. No. So to that point, we were having some conversations before this, and we won't give you all the details of that for reasons, but we were sort of talking about how in personal situations, I'm not going to go too far into some of the stuff that we've been discussing in our personal lives, but we're starting to have people that are realizing that it's a bit of a tough world out there.
Yeah.
The younger parts of the generations in our families are starting to lose their ambition, their focus. They're not really seeing where they're going. They've got zero plans. They sort of just want low-wage jobs and going every day and doing whatever it is they feel like they're doing. And
So this is not really about TradCon, as some will object strenuously out there. It's really more about, with every change, something's gained and something's lost,
Mhm.
and looking at what's lost.
Right. So for me, as the elder, you
Yeah.
sort of couch this as generational thing, and I think it is, because I see opportunities everywhere. During COVID, people came to me and offered me businesses. Just take this business, Andreas. I'll give you a big salary and a percent of the profit. I can't do it. These are people in my age bracket.
Yeah.
I can't figure out how to hire people. They come, they go, they do. There's no loyalty. Well, the loyalty has to go both ways. But I grew up in a generation where you gave loyalty and you got loyalty from companies. And I see that's also disappearing.
Yeah.
But the will to work and produce something, is not there. I turned down those great opportunities, because I didn't want them to be working that much at my age. But also I see the difficulty of people not caring about their job and seeing a future. There is a great future if you'll bear down, do the hard work, become a leader. Just the old traditional path still works. Get some skills, apply them diligently, and grow in a business. But the people that offered me these companies said they can't find people. There isn't enough of the people that want to dedicate themselves to work. They want to dedicate themselves to going surfing when the surf is up, or it's a nice day, or somebody offered me 50 cents an hour more, and what difference does it make? And it's a little closer. He's by the blue line, and I had to take a bus to get here, and the L is more convenient, so I quit. Stuff like that. I heard scores of stories about the difficulty of giving people opportunities. The opportunities are there. There's nobody to take them.
But look at what's changed. A man who had a wife and children to support and a mortgage to pay couldn't afford to screw up on the job.
Right.
Yeah.
He absolutely had to keep his nose to the grindstone and provide for his family.
Right. Everybody wants to be a social influencer and make a lot of money by doing this.
Yes.
But all the money in the conservative communities, and we spoke a little bit about the urban liberal centers versus conservative towns, they're out doing stuff, making products. There is industry in this country. We are producing things, and people with a hammer or electrical tester or running wire, they're making tons of money because
they're rare. They're not so common now.
They're not so common, and they can, ask whatever price they want and get it.
Yeah.
So those guys that are actually doing stuff, and that's where the opportunities lie.
Yeah.
But it's so much nicer to sit at home and look at the thing and say, oh, why aren't I making an app that makes $1 million? Well, there's millions of people in the world doing the same thing.
Trying to do that. So the competition is fierce.
Right. And it's global.
It's a saturated market.
It's a what?
It's a saturated market is what we call it.
Right.
Yeah.
So do the thing. So I grew many companies doing stuff that other people didn't want to do. There's always an opportunity in doing something that's hard, difficult, dirty, whatever it is.
Yeah.
You can do it, figure it out, hire people, get them to do it. But today, that hiring the people to do the dirty, difficult stuff, that's where the business implodes. So that's why I don't want to get into it. Well, I'm too old now, but I see in retrospect, that's that age thing, is where it's collapsing and where we have fear of other people coming into this country who actually have a work ethic taking over our jobs, because you can't get $50 an hour to sweep a floor because somebody else from another country will do it for minimum wage. But if we kick all those people out, maybe somebody will pay me $50 an hour to sweep the floor. No, you're just going to close that business. And not only will the floor sweeping job go, but all of the other jobs will go, because you can order it online from Amazon. So Amazon gets the business.
So I was just thinking about single mothers. Now, they can't afford to lose their jobs, but on the other hand, they're distracted because they're kids.
Right.
Yeah.
So they want flexible hours. They don't want to work a rigid 40-hour week.
Yeah.
And a big corporation makes some space for that, and some part of the world, and you can tell the story, oh yeah, this corporation allows for that flexibility. But if you're really going
But if you want to be an executive, you better be putting in 60-hour weeks to be in competition with
that
others.
Story has not gone away. It's just not told in this country, but worldwide, it's still the suit and tie. It's still the flying around. It's still 7 to 7 every day, 5 to 6, maybe 7 days a week. So that's what I grew up with, and I can't turn it off. But people, when I do work now for my not-for-profit, I'm building a center, I get 20, 30-year-old guys come and work, and they're like, why are you working? Wait, no, it's 3 o'clock. I usually quit around 3:30. Let's put the tools away. I'm saying, no, I'm going to work till 7. We got to get this done. That whole attitude is gone from a number of generations. It's
like the merry old land of Oz.
Mm-hmm.
We're up at noon and take our, how does that go? We get up at noon and start to work at 1, take an hour for lunch, and then at 2 we're done.
Yeah.
Jolly good fun.
And some people wouldn't even do that, honestly, take lunch. That's another thing.
That's right.
People take like longer lunches nowadays. If I go with my mechanic, and it's rare to find a really good mechanic nowadays, especially for people with older cars. That's all we talk about every show it is getting harder. You have to learn your own skills at this point to fix your car, because it's getting harder and harder to find people. 2 guys that I go to on top of when I do my own fixes, Katie is probably ready to retire. Like he's getting up there, because he's known those cars since my dad and him were around the same age, and my dad was bringing them there. So they're getting up there, and they're getting ready to retire.
And out at my place that I'm building, the Center for Good Works, I often have to count on 60 and late 60s and early 70-year-old guys to come and finish stuff.
Yeah.
Keep swinging the hammer till it's done. 6, 7 o'clock at night, whatever. It's got to be done by
work ethic.
Yeah, the work ethic is there, and the young guys have gone home, hours before.
So I mean, the young guys, it's a crisis. It's been called a boy crisis, and let's see if we can't wrap this up. So I mean, we're just looking at just the lost boys, a lost generation, especially with the boys. It's affecting the girls too, but
I see women that have come into that space and started businesses and swing a hammer and do electrical work, or at least go out and bid it and manage it, and then they find the guys to do it. So there is that a bit too. So the fluidity we're talking about is women are moving into that space and seeing an opportunity to create wealth and own a company. And the biggest job creation by owners of businesses is women-owned businesses, I think, in this area anyway.
In this area for right now, recently, in the last couple of years.
So the fluidity is happening. The women are seeing the opportunity, and men are surfing or, playing video games.
Yeah, I know. Well,
so what's the answer? Get off the couch and go
to work. Now, and that doesn't mean like.
So here's a funny aside. I don't know if it'll make it into this, but years ago, I was interviewing for a job, and a guy comes in very frustrated, and he said, he wasn't applying for a job for me. It was a guy I knew wanting to just visit me in my office. And he said, I'm so frustrated, Andreas. I send out 2,000 resumes a day, 2,000 resumes, and I can't get a job. And I said, well, I do the hiring. I've had over 5,000 employees. I said, I want to take the guy who walks in the front door and says, give me a chance. I may not have all the skills, but I'm going to bust my ass and I'm going to work for
direct
you.
approach.
I'll do whatever it takes. he goes to the very top of the pile. I don't have time to look at your resume that comes through the internet and 1,000 other ones that say all the bullshit. You can say whatever you want
In a
on a resume.
right.
But that guy comes in and I read that he's for real and he needs the job and he needs the money. He gets the job. I said, why don't you try that and stop 2,000 resumes a day? Where are they going?
All right. Let's wrap this up.
Well, hopefully we'll continue this conversation at a later date. But for now, that is sort of the beginning of our talk of the lost boys, this lost generation, this lost ambition, this this stuff that seems to be disappearing, this lack of work ethic, lack of a path. We're sort of losing our boys within this world of change. And
well, if I can add a final thing, it always, the traditional and the current and the future, it often comes down to personal responsibility. If you're blaming other people for not hiring you for whatever reason and not looking at yourself and saying, what do I have to do to
get better,
to give more and be a cut above everyone else and work harder and be better and have a future, then you will have a future. Then the misty path becomes clear because you've taken steps in that direction and not just sat back on your computer and say, why isn't it working?
Oh, that could be a topic for next episode.
All right.
The disappearance of self-discipline.
Oh, yeah. Self-determination and taking responsibility. Yeah, that's right.
But all right. Until next time, this is Katrina.
Andreas.
Tim, thanks for being here. Hit that like button and subscribe.
And comment.
Thanks.
We'll see you guys next episode.